Hello, boys and girls. It's time for another chess lesson from Craig Marr the Master. Today's topic is attacking. How do I attack? Okay, I think that most of you will agree that one of the most fun things for a chess player is to attack. You know, especially attack the other guy's king. Now, I know that when you get into a position where you're just about to deliver checkmate, well, most of you can do that. Once you got the crushing position, that's when a lot of us are having, a great deal of fun. But the hard part about chess is how do we get to that position where we're just going to throw in the little layup and execute our opponent. See, when most of you get into that position, you can do it. But how do we get there? It's the preparation, it's the setup, it's how do you maneuver to actually get these crushing positions. That's what today's discussion is going to be all about. Now today, or yesterday, I played Stockfish on level 6, which is a computer. And when you play it on level 6, it's playing at about expert strength. But it plays the middle game at titled player level. I'm talking about Grandmaster or International Master level when you get it into a sharp middle game. It doesn't play the opening very well and it plays the end game very poorly, but its middle game, I would say, is very, very strong, very, very advanced. If you sacrifice against the computer, it better be good. So let's look at today's game. I had black against Stockfish, d4. Now we have a Nimzo Indian with the main line, one of the main lines, Queen c2. I believe Queen c2 is one of the best, and d5 is one of the main lines. The other main line would be c5. Now notice that the drawback to this line of the Nimzo is that this bishop here, or this queen's bishop, is shut in. All I can do is get, it can't go out and pin me or anything like that. So it's kind of a little bit of a disadvantage to this particular variation. Let's see what I did here. Now, this is not book. Okay, I'm supposed to play c5, b6, knight d7, or c5, or one of the book moves. But what I really want you guys to learn is how to play well when you get out of book. Because right now we're still kind of in book. So a6 is cool in the sense that there's an idea behind it. Let's see what I had in mind. Bishop d3. Now here comes my idea. Pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, boom. Now what I'm doing here is I'm fianchettoing the bishop with tempo. See, this bishop is now going to be coming out of its hiding place and getting a very powerful diagonal here. So he has to go back and now simply develop. And now black is ready to enforce c5. This is often the freeing move in many positions. Now that's kind of a lemon. I don't understand the purpose of that move. The computer likes bishop e4, as you can see, but I don't want to give away my powerful bishop. I don't know if that's really an advantageous trade for me because he's going to play bishop d3. So, you sort of reach a higher level when you can disagree with the computer. A lot of you, I know, treat it as this is the Bible, this is God speaking to me, but I don't really agree with that assessment. Okay, obviously I'm going to be playing for c5 or possibly even e5. These are both ways to start breaking down white's center. You don't want to just allow this pawn to remain. You want to challenge the center. A3 is good. Now the computer likes bishop takes, but I have my own ideas. This is actually much better. So, sometimes, we don't always agree with the computer. But I would say that bishop c3 is playable, but not that good. Okay? So sometimes we're going to have to disagree with the computer. Now that's a lemon. I don't know why, but see, the computer thought that by preventing c5, somehow that would be a good thing to do. But the problem is this piece, this bishop on c1. How is it ever going to get out now? So my opinion about b4 is it's just not a very good move, Okay, so now I'm starting my central action, and the purpose of this is to, start really accentuating the scope of this bishop and developing further the scope of this knight. And then start training all my guns on the king side. Okay. Today's topic is going to be attacking the king. Well, how do I get to the king? But once the king castles, I know where you live, and then I can have a better way to attack the king. So he castles. Now, castles are not necessarily that bad, but you have to be aware of situations where your king is going to be under attack here. And this is one of those times. Now, black has to decide, what am I going to do with this pawn on e5? Now here clearly the computer is suggesting queen e7, which is a good move. I could take and either isolate the pawn or kind of bring your knight out. I don't want to develop your knight. I don't want to develop your knight out here to d4. I am increasing, by capturing, I am, when you capture back, I am increasing the scope of this fianchetto bishop, which is a good thing. But I prefer the computer's move. But I played that right away, okay, and that's really good. Now, one of the keys to a successful kingside attack is trying to get the move e4 or pawn to king 5 in, and remove f3. Knight on f3 is a major defensive piece. It really guards the king side. But once the knight has to move back, see, the knight could have moved here also, and then it would be kind of exposed to the punt. I'm going to kick once your knight comes here, and then your knight is going to have to end up on kind of an awkward square. So this makes sense, retreating and now attacking 3 times. And so again, the computer recommends queen e7, which I do play. Now here, white has to go for this counterplay a4, because if you don't, I don't see how all these pieces are really going to, be able to defend the king side. One of the things that we look for in a kingside attack is the lack of firepower, the lack of pieces defending the critical area. I can make this the critical area by simply massing. That is a term that we're going to have to use and learn in chess. What does massing mean? It means I start bringing all of my pieces over into the attacking zone. This is the attacking zone right around his king. How am I going to do that? Well, the problem with this move is you created a hook. In other words, you created a target for me. This is not good. The much better move would be g3. It better protects the king, because this bishop is bearing down right into your house. You know, I don't know how I'm going to line up the queen and the bishop. It's going to be very difficult. But one of my strategies is, how can I get my queen over to here, into here or here, into the key attacking zones. One of the things that I'm noticing about your position, which is bad, is there are no pieces protecting the king at this moment. So my only problem is, how am I going to get all these pieces? This piece is already bearing down on the king. It's already bearing down. This piece is kind of limited by the bishop. So I really need to get more pieces over to the king's side. Now this is a start. Okay, what am I doing? I'm overprotecting this point so that now I can start moving out and getting f5, f4 in and try to open up that king's position. Now that is a little bit lemony because it's removing another piece. Notice that all these pieces are starting to go to the queen's side. And now whenever you see that, you realize that there's a coming storm on the other side of the board. So this is a dangerous strategy. I might have played rook e1, knight f1, and to keep the knight guarding the king better. See, when you start moving pieces away from the king, it becomes a concern. The computer likes knight d5, but what I wanted to do here was bring this other knight maybe to d5, and now the position is not yet that bad because I don't have the firepower necessary yet to attack the king. Now he attacks my bishop, I move away. Now this knight here isn't really doing much. It's kind of a lousy piece. So the computer is willing to admit its mistake. And now what I want to do here is move the knight, move this knight away so that I can play f5 and f4 and start bringing the rooks into the attack. Because right now the rooks are just doing nothing. So I want to move the knight on f6 and get it. And one of the ways I can move the knight is to get the knight over here, and the computer really likes that move. However, what I do is I move the other knight over because I want you to capture, and then I'm going to capture with the other knight and then play f5, f4, and then mount a very serious attack. Again, the computer is just, just kind of futzing around with no plan in sight. And now I'm going to start taking action. Boom, boom, boom. And now we have a serious attack already in progress. And now the computer says, as we look up here, let's look up here at this thing, negative 1.7. That means black is already ahead. So let's see what the computer did. Now this is a normal move, okay? But now I'm beginning to sense, and don't you begin to sense, that a storm is brewing. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 pieces ready to strike. How many pieces are really defending this small area of the board? 0. 0. The queen is out here in left field. The knight's out here doing nothing. The bishop is not defending anything. I'm just going to go out and attack, man. Okay? And now look at what the computer says. Minus 2.7. 3. Minus 3. I'm 3 points ahead. The computer says it's over Rover. He takes, and now the computer loves queen h4. Now, I must tell you that most successful attacks, you got to have the queen, okay? The queen is your atom bomb. It's your best attacking piece. What I'm going to do is try to open up this diagonal by sacrificing on f4. And when he captures back, I'm going to push. That's going to develop the sleeping bishop. So let's see what happened here. He comes up, and now watch. Boom! Okay, what am I doing? He takes. What would happen if he takes the rook? Okay, let's go up here and see what happens if he takes a rook. He takes the rook. And now I take, and then he's sacrificing the queen. What does that mean? That means if he doesn't sack the queen, he's busted. That's why he sacrifices the queen. So the computer is telling me that this is a decisive attack if he simply captures the knight. What would happen if he captured the knight? Well, and see, we're going to checkmate on h2 when the king moves backward. So that's what would happen if you decided to accept my powerful rook sacrifice. So that's why he didn't take it. So let's see what he did. He went there, and now there's another brilliancy. Now see, what I'm trying to do is indirectly develop the bishop. This bishop has been silent for the whole game, and now suddenly it's coming to life. Let's see what happens if he captures my rook. Bishop takes rook. Of course, I'm going to capture, and when he takes it, I'm gonna bring my knight in here, check, and then he's gonna have to play e4, and then I'm gonna checkmate. The king has nowhere to go. It can't go back here, can't go up here, it can't go here, it can't go e3, and the king e2 is guarded by the knight. It's checkmate. So that's what would happen if you, let's go back here, if you decided in this position to capture my rook. Now, it looks to me that he's completely busted, and the computer says, yes, mate in 3. So let's see what happened at this point. He goes back, and now that's an easy mate. Check, over, mate. And see, a lot of you, once you get to this crushing position, can finish, but the big, most difficult thing and the greatest skill is how do we get there. Thanks for watching, folks.